So, right. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be in the world. Welcome to our weekly 12 Ronnies live stream. Today, myself and Bill Murray would like to actually have a discussion about how 12 Ronnies are using idea validation, the importance of it, but also something new that we're introducing into how we assess whether people are ready for idea validation. And in the second half of this live stream, we're going to be bringing Christopher Norris into the discussion to talk about quizzes, to talk about assessments and how they can be used in the context of startups. So first of all, Bill, welcome. This is an exciting session, and really idea validation for both of us is a central theme, and it's a central theme of really 12 Ronnies in general. And what I thought we'd maybe have a brief discussion on is what idea validation means to us, and how we explain it to our mentees when we're talking about it. And for instance, I have two different types of explanation. I have one which is slightly more technical, because it is in practicing doing the validation, it can become a technical exercise. So I use the words like idea validation, where we're validating whether an idea is solving a problem that customers want. And in solving that problem, first of all, we need to look at can we solve it in a feasible way? So can we actually, if it breaks the laws of physics, if it's a time machine, we just cannot do it. So is it feasible? Is it viable? So we often talk about, well, is the business model viable? If it costs too much, people really don't see that sort of value in it, then it's not really a viable idea, even though it's feasible. But the bit that people don't seem to focus on is the desirability, and really validating with customers, do people want it? And that's the work that I guess that we spend most of our time exploring. Do people actually want it? And that's where I see the technical side of idea validation. I don't know what your thoughts are, Bill, on that, or whether there's any other ways of explaining it, or how you would put it to your mentees.
Yeah, when someone has an idea, it's usually an idea for a product, a solution, and that's kind of the wrong way to go usually, because you're starting at the end, at the beginning. And the beginning is really, as you said, is there a problem that people have that is strong enough for them to actually do something about it, and that engage in some sort of new behavior and pay you for it, whether that's money, time, or some other currency. So yeah, we often start with the V and the DVF, the Venn diagram of some kind of design. We often start with the viability and the feasibility. Hey, I can do this. I can see myself doing this. But the last thing we often think of is, well, would anyone actually go out of their way to access this product? And that's what we have to answer first. Because if it is desirable, then viability and feasibility become relative. Because if there's a huge opportunity there, we may be able to change the laws of physics to make something happen. But if there is no opportunity, then why bother?
Absolutely. And I think that is the key. It is the desirability. And there's another way I've been talking about when explaining it to people in more of what I would call sort of an economics way, an economics 101, which is supply and demand. So if you're going to produce something, you need to really see, is there a demand for it? If there isn't a demand, there's no point you producing a supply side. And in my experience, this has changed over the decades of me doing. I mean, I've been doing startups for over 35 years, pre-internet days. And in the early days of me doing startups, when I thought of something, generally I was solving sort of a problem, not because that's sort of instinctively what you do when you come up with an idea, solving a problem for yourself or someone else. But with that, if I built it, you would generally find, because there weren't that many products about and there wasn't that much supply of different things, you'd find an audience, you'd find a small demand side. You could make something work. But nowadays, there's so many products. They're so quick to get to market. There's so much variation that the demand side seems to be by far the most important. And that's really where the idea validation comes in. Find the demand side. The supply is often the easy part. So there's the explanations on that. And I was wondering, Bill, we've put together a quiz, an assessment to look at finding out. Well, really, we've called it assessing your sort of business idea, and have you got a good business idea or not? And it's all along really determining whether it's desirable as such. And so I'd like to spend a few minutes going through the quiz we've put together and maybe challenging what we've put here, discussing why we've put certain things. So I'm going to do a little screen share. So I'll just set up the present side of my screen share. There's two things I want to share. First of all, hopefully you can see this. But what I've got here is our 12ronnies.com website. If you look at the top, Bill, can you see this? I'm just checking that everybody can see this on screen. And with that, if I scroll down, you'll see that validate idea here is where we've put the quiz. And what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to switch my screen now and see. So can you share and tab?
There you go.
Let's see. Can you see the quiz now?
Yes.
Okay, right. What we've got is in here. Now this is the first page, Bill. So there are three parts to this quiz and this assessment. So it's really, as we've talked about idea validation, is discovering whether you have a good business idea or not. And we're thinking of a good business idea of something that there's a customer need for or a demand for. So this is what we're assessing. And there's three stages to this. There's this landing page, then we're going to do the assessment, and then we're going to look at the results. So Bill, first of all, this landing page, does this make sense to you in terms of idea validation, in terms of what we're trying to achieve? There's a couple of components. Is there anything you would add here?
No, I don't think so, because this is sort of as I look kind of towards a quiz like this is that first conversation you might have with a mentor, with maybe that first person who, besides yourself, has ever really looked at your idea and given you feedback. So this is a great place to start. Let's this is just sort of almost a mechanical version of that first mentor conversation. So this is a great place to start.
Great. And the key words here is uncover if your idea is good, needs work, or is risky. So that's where we're trying to get to. So let's have a go at it. I put it in draft mode for us to, so we don't skew things. Let me put in my 12 Ronnies details. First of all, we want to take the details of who's taking it. It's very important when doing a quiz and assessment to capture who's taking part in this. First question, Bill. So the first question we're looking at is your business idea solving a pressing problem in the markets? And we've given the option of maybe. If you don't know if you've done enough research, put a maybe in. So there's only a few questions in here, but we're asking if they basically thought about a problem side of it. Any thoughts on this part, Bill?
No, this is the logical first question for sort of a robotic mentor. I mean, my first question would be, tell me about your idea. And then this would be my follow-up question. Okay, great. Is your business idea solving a pressing problem in the market? Tell me about that problem. So you can't have a conversation here. So this is the way you do it. This is a great first slide for the for that initial question.
Fabulous. So now let's say it is. Most people think they're solving a problem in the market.
Yeah.
So otherwise they probably wouldn't be bringing it to market. Now the next part, again, have you identified a unique selling proposition for your business idea? Because ultimately, Bill, if you're going to make a business out of this, is a business idea, you've got to be able to sell it to somebody. Somebody's got to buy, has got to buy it. So is this a logical next step?
Yeah, we may want to just add a definition of unique selling proposition here to help people understand. But yeah, the first question is, are you solving a problem? And then number two, do you have an idea of how your idea will actually solve that for the person? What will the person see in your idea that in their mind says, hey, that's exactly what I've been looking for to solve this problem that I have.
Yeah, and I love it that you've identified that not everybody's going to know what a unique selling proposition is, and there's jargon that we have to address to make sure that, because we're not just talking about high-tech startups. 12 Ronnies help businesses in general start. So yeah,
everything down to what, I don't know if you call it this over there, but we call it a lifestyle business, which is just a small business that I'm going to earn a living doing. It's not like a startup where I'm going to go get money and make $1 million and that sort of thing. It's just, it could be a cleaning business, or a landscaping business. And they're all the same. We go through the same questions, whether we're trying to solve world hunger or solve for my neighborhood's landscaping needs. It's the same set of questions.
Yep. No, fabulous. Okay. And I've put a note down to define unique selling opposition. I just said yes here. There's various ones. Now, this next question here, I think is actually quite important in a number of ways. But do you have a clear audience for your business idea? Thoughts on this one, Bill?
Yeah, very succinct, and you have to have this. So yeah, okay, yeah, I think I'm solving a problem. Here's why I think people will see it as a solution to their problem. But then the next question is, okay, who are these people and where do they live? How do you know who they are? If I put a crowd of people in front of you, how would you pick out which ones are your customers in that crowd? Yeah, because you can have the greatest idea in the world and the greatest marketing plan, but if you don't know who you're marketing to, marketing's expensive. And if you say the whole world's expensive to market to. I need small groups of people in small places that are inexpensive to reach.
Wonderful. Well, it's such a key question. It really is. So let's say you don't have a clear one. You've got some ideas, but you don't really have a clear audience. I'm going to say no here. And then this is actually one of the final questions on here. Have you conducted market research to validate demand for your business idea? This is, in many ways, this is the key idea validation question. So your thoughts on this one, Bill?
Yeah, there's a couple different kinds of market research to do. There's the first person stuff where you're working directly with people, you're talking to people, you're observing people, watching behaviors in your marketplace, watching people in that moment that they're having the problem. And then there's third-party data that you can go out and find. You can find out how many people are like this out there. Where are they? Are they, where do we find them? What other types of things do they do? So yeah, that's the kind of thing you have to know. Once you say, okay, yeah, I know who the people are. All right, what do you know about them? And how effective can you be in reaching them?
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's say I say no here. I haven't done that work. Final question is: so what's the biggest problem you're having with your business idea, and what would you like? And what help would you like? So it's a general question here. We're now trying to not put people in a box. We're trying to actually find a little bit more information. I've just pre-typed. I'm not sure what to do next. But thoughts on an open-ended question at this stage, Bill?
Yeah, I like the open-ended question here. This very much follows my logical process with someone. Say, understanding that as a mentor, especially initially I may not be able to get them to try something radically new or uncomfortable. So I want to know where they think they are. What's the biggest problem for you right now? Well, I need to find a manufacturer for my product. That'll help me understand that, okay, we've got somebody here who's way far ahead of where they need to be. They don't have a group of customers ready to buy their product yet, and yet they're worried about a manufacturer. So how do I get them back to where they need to be, and think about the things that they can think of, that they'll need to think about to reduce the risk of manufacturing something? Because manufacturing a product before you've got people to buy it is a huge risk from a monetary standpoint, and it's something that could kill off your business idea before you even get it off the ground.
Absolutely. So I'll press next here, and we've generated our report. So what we have here is the third stage, if you like. What do you get back? So what we've compiled in our quiz, in our assessment, is saying, well, this is the answers to the questions that we've posed to you. So if you disagree with them, you can redo the quiz, or if you've made a mistake, go back and do the quiz again. And we've listed that. We've then listed what category we feel you've fallen into, and some of the logic behind it, just to explain. If you haven't validated the demand for your business idea, it's probably too risky just to launch your business right now. So we've identified, and there's a combinations here. You haven't even looked at your target audience. It's probably too risky to go and invest your money now in launching a business. Agree, Bill, or disagree at this stage?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a great opportunity for someone with an idea to get sort of a reality check, and that's not a negative thing. It's something that's very important for us. It's to get that feedback, even if they're not getting it from a human being, they're getting it from this simulated mentor, and it can be a great opportunity to stop and reevaluate where you are. Not throw your idea away, not be disappointed or upset. We get very excited when we get an idea and we want to plow through. We want to get out there and have that success. But there's a disciplined way to do it that reduces your risk so that you don't end up disappointed. And this is a great way to start down that.
Brilliant. And again, what to do next? So we talk about our idea validation service, which we won't go massively into today, but we offer a unique idea validation service. I've got you, Bill, on the form, because I'm quoting you here, which is, I believe, is important when that somebody with experience, somebody that is an expert in the field, to be able to comment on this section. And then we talk about our actual idea validation service. So there's a little bit more details on the service we do in terms of a comprehensive course, validation tools, an expert coach to be able to do this, a little bit more about it. So this third part is now about saying, well, these were your questions. This is where we believe you are from what you've asked due to our expertise, and this is how we can help you. And just to show you that it's not a static quiz. If I was to go, let's say, go back and retake the quiz itself, you would come to a different answer. I'm actually not seeing how I get. Yes, okay. I can come back and I'll come back and redo it at another stage because it'll show a different example. Mm-hmm. What I'm going to do now is, Bill, we've gone through the quiz part. We've gone through how we've looked at it in terms of idea validation. I'd like to bring Christopher Norris on stage to discuss more about quizzes and assessments and how they're useful in the startup ecosystem. So welcome, Christopher. Welcome to stage. I'm going to leave you and Bill to chat about this. I'll remove myself from the screen so you can spend the next 10, 12 minutes or so chatting about quizzes and assessments.
Yeah.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Hi, Chris.
Yeah, hi, Bill. Yeah, I mean, that was very interesting and useful. I've been kind of watching separately. One thing that I think about quizzes, and especially with respect to this new validation process and this quiz that we've got, is that firstly, people love taking quizzes because we love finding out information about ourselves. So, you see in magazines, like trade magazines, there's always quizzes about, what category you fall into and whatever, if you answer questions in a particular way, or what score do you get at the end, that kind of thing. And I think what's good about our quiz is that when people answer questions where they value the answer and the answer is uncertain, then people will tend to answer those questions honestly and accurately because they don't want to get the wrong answer. So I wonder what you think about that.
Yeah, it just depends on their mindset. But I think this is a great opportunity for people to, again, take that sort of stop and think, where they may have up to this point been kind of running on adrenaline and excitement over the new idea, which is great. I mean, there's nothing like that feeling of having a new idea and feeling like the world is at your feet. But stopping for a moment here and realizing that maybe there's some things I need to do so that I'm not disappointed is a really important step. Yeah,
and I also think that if you're in a I think it's true to say that when people are first having their ideas, it's a time in the life cycle of the startup when people are really enthusiastic and very evangelical about their idea. So if they take the quiz and then it gives them an answer that they like, then it's quite likely that they'll know other people who are wanting to launch businesses, and they may, hopefully, and we can make it clear that this is something we want people to do. They will then share the quiz with other people in their networks, because it's a helpful thing, and human beings like being helpful to other people. So
yeah, I think so. And because what I like is each question is sort of a reminder of something that they should have done or should be doing. So I think that's, as you're taking it, is who is the market for, who are the people that have this problem? Oh, shoot, hadn't really thought about that yet. But that's good. It's good to think about that now. Again, before I've, lined up a manufacturer and spent tens of thousands of dollars to get some prototypes.
That's right. And I think another thing that's useful about the quiz is that it gives realistic information. So if you're not ready to you need to do some more work, then the quiz tells you to do that. So it's not like there's and it's useful to have if you like, a chat bot telling you things, because there's no bias. It literally depends on how you've answered the quiz as to what advice you get.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was thinking, so many people come to us and they're asking us, well, can you connect me with someone who can finance me? Can you get me an investor? Or maybe they're looking to go to a bank to get a loan for their business. This is a great time to take this quiz, because one of the first things that the bank or an investor is going to ask is, well, great, how many customers do you have? What's your cash flow? Well, in that, if that number is 0 and 0 or negative, you're not going to find anybody who's willing to contribute to your charitable organization. And I say charitable organization because that's all you really are at this point. You're not an ongoing concern. You're something that might be, but isn't yet. So taking this quiz helps you understand, well, wait a minute, I'm nowhere near getting investment yet. I have to jump through these hoops. I have to identify a group of people. I have to identify a selling proposition. I have to know who my market is and have to have great research. And I have to have people that either buying my product or are asking me when it's available. Because none of those things, if you don't have any of those things, then no one's going to want to give you any money, because it's just too risky.
That's right. It's essentially what an investor what they need is kind of points of evidence and proof, data points, if you like, that people like the product and are going to pay for the product. So yeah, it's I was on a webinar earlier on with respect to somebody who runs a consultancy to help people enter for awards. And she made a sort of similar point that if you win an award for something, even if you've not yet got investment for something, I guess there are competitions for kind of pre-launch businesses or for ideas. If you can say that it's an award-winning business, then that's equally, a data point of proof that you're onto something, as well as obviously sales figures and things, or pre-sales, in this case. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Any of those, a pitch contest, or if you have a local incubator or accelerator in your area, a university that may run an entrepreneurship program or a junior college or something like that, you need to get involved with those organizations and use those resources to help you get up to that point. And I think our quiz really helps identify those places where you're going to need that help.
Somebody's just asked if I could share the name and company. Yeah, it's the lady who runs it, the founder of the company, is called Donna O'Toole, and her company is called August, like the name of the month. But she was explaining on the webinar that it's not actually the name of the month that is the reason why she calls her company that. It's more she's got quite a wide vocabulary, and she likes the sense of the word August, where you're being honest and reliable. So it's August rather than August. Yeah. I'll make sure that there's a link to that in the comments, so you can find it easily. But yeah, I mean, it's the other thing is that if people want to have more of a conversation about the idea validation as well as taking the quiz, there are obviously lots of people within the 12 Ronnie's community, which is called Founders and Mentors. So there are conversations that you can have there, and you can also get some feedback, which I guess isn't the pre-sales feedback, but you can also use the Ideas Nest tool for getting some feedback from people at a very early stage as to whether or not they think it's a good idea. It's not, pre-sales information, so it's not as good as perhaps, going out and doing your own experiments. But, maybe you could, spend the last couple of minutes, Bill, talking about some stuff that people can do in order to validate their idea once you've been told that this is something you need to do.
Yeah, there's just no excuse anymore for not being able to do it. It really just comes down to our desire to step back from the excitement of our idea and do the important things that have to be done. As Simon was saying, back before the internet, the barriers to entry, everything were very, very high. I'm a big fan of a fellow by the name of Peter Diamandis, and he has his six D's of abundance, or I think he wrote about abundance. But with the internet, the bar for everything has come down. The cost and the both in time and money to do just about anything has gone to essentially zero. So there are so many places online that you can find people and then go talk to them in person. Google's got great resources. YouTube has great resources. 12 Ronnies really has the full package. I mean, if you need anything, you're going to find it at 12 Ronnies. But there's no excuse to not know how to start and how to go about it in a disciplined way using tools like the Lean Canvas and then the Business Model Canvas. There are great tools all over the place. So it's available right at your fingertips. It just comes down to a decision to use it or not. And there's plenty of tutoring out there. There are plenty of people available, and there's so many ways to get that data, that research, the qualitative and the quantitative.
And that's really the if you want all that information in one place and some expert guidance to take you through that process, then that's where our new idea validation report service comes in. So, you know, that's now available. So as Simon was showing you at the bottom of that page, you can now choose to purchase, I think it's $50
Yeah.
to
That's nothing. I mean, for what you get, that's
yeah,
nothing. Yeah. And honestly, that $50 is just really, you know, are you serious about this or not? I mean, anybody could give it away for free, but you know, the people are really, you know, show us that you're actually, you know, you're actually committed to this idea. Because if that $50 is too much for you to spend, you know, things get a lot more expensive that later on, and they get really expensive when you make mistakes.
yes.
You know, things that should have cost you nothing can cost you thousands of dollars. Not only torpedo your current idea, but keep you from ever trying another idea again because you put yourself underwater. So one of the things I do as a mentor, I really try to make sure people survive their first idea, just in case it's not as great as they thought it was. So we find out very quickly, and you know, maybe your next idea, maybe that's the big one. I want to make sure that you've got a chance in your life to get there.
Well, that's right. I mean, and you know, finding out early that something's a bad idea is a really, in the long run, it's a really good thing.
There's no shame. No shame in having a bad idea. I've had a million of them. I have bad ideas every day. Ask my wife. There's no shame in it. The shame is in taking a really bad idea all the way to the finish line and then never being able to pursue another one again because you lost your home and your family and everything else.
It's like the old proverb, you know, choose your battles, isn't it? Really, it's like, because if you waste all your ammunition on an idea that's not going anywhere, then you give up and you go and do something else. Whereas if you find out early that something's not going to be worth your time pursuing, then you can have another idea and look at that. So,
is that the hill you want to die on?
Exactly. Yeah. Anyway, so thank you so much, everybody, for coming. There was a question that somebody asked about 10 minutes ago that wasn't really relevant for today's session, but what we will do is answer that question in the comments below the below this particular session, and you know, we'll take notes of what you've said in that question and maybe address it in a, you know, in a different session, you know, based on, it was to do with manufacturing, so maybe that's a good topic for another session.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thanks very much, everyone. Do come back next week, and we will be posting videos and clips and things in due course once we've done some editing. So thank you so much. Okay, bye bye.